Hey guys, John and Jackie of Open Love 101, and consensual non-monogamy has gone mainstream.
It has.
We were recently at a function for people that are in open relationships in Austin, and we were blown away. There were probably 80 couples there, maybe more, and we hadn't seen any of them at the club. And it was promoted through really more of a mainstream site, this thing that we went to. It's really, really cool that we're seeing our lifestyle becoming more and more popular, especially with younger people.
Yeah, that open lifestyle concept is really appealing.
I think when people when they first realize they want to maybe explore it and get into it, they're looking for a place to meet other people of like mind. And one thing that comes to mind is maybe going to a swingers club or a swingers parties somewhere in your area. And that can be a little unnerving for some people.
It can be. Matter of fact, the times John and I have actually spoken to couples that are new to our club, we typically find out that there's been a pretty long span between the conversation about going to a swingers club and actually stepping foot in the swingers club.
Yes.
There's a lot of apprehension.
I had to get up my courage, but watching your videos really helped me do that.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Not sure what to expect. Yeah.
So today we have a list of maybe, 25 things or so that might help you if you decide you want to go check out a swingers club somewhere, or maybe a swingers party or swingers event, swingers convention, swingers cruise, any of the above.
Right.
These things could help you out.
Yeah. So,
to start off, I think it's important to talk about what you're really looking for in your first visit to a place like that where you're going to meet other open-minded couples.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's, it's one thing to fantasize about going into a club where, if you haven't ever been inside one, you may have all of these fantasies about what is taking place. And you're not going to even know that you don't know certain things. And so that's why John and I are here today, to maybe help baby step you through some of the preliminary things that you can get ready for, and make the evening enjoyable for both you and your partner, or just for you if you're a single.
Yeah, and so, some of the things that you may decide you're going for is to just explore and see what it's like inside the club or the party. Maybe it's to just meet another couple and not do anything else. Maybe it's to go out dancing, just to try something new, to be able to dress sexy and go out. I mean, there could be any number of reasons why you want to go. And that would be the first thing to talk about with your partner is, why are we going?
Right. Well, and this is the other thing too. We get so caught up in the sexualized part of these kinds of clubs, that kind of like, oh, those kinds of clubs. And the only thing people can think of is sex. And so, for a lot of people, like John said, that can be really unnerving, because you're going to think, gosh, I'm going to walk into this environment and this is all I'm going to see. You don't ever stop to think about the intellectual intimacy that needs to take place between you and your partner before you even step foot. And as well, you're going to find out once you do that a lot of the hype that is around a club, a sex club, is just that. It's kind of hype. So, but you do need to understand what you're walking into and what you and your partner are prepared to do, what you're not prepared to do. And I keep saying partner, but we have a lot of singles that come to the club as well. And so these are things that you can go over in your own mind to better prepare yourself. The first one is expectation. What is your expectation for coming to the club?
Right.
And what John and I typically tell couples is your expectation should be to not have any expectation. Just to come in, to just absorb the environment. There is going to be a little bit of sensory overload with what's taking place. It's a new environment. You're stepping outside of the box, so to speak, in your relationship. You're going to do something kind of wild and crazy and different. So, it's about, what are we prepared to do in our conversation? Are we going to talk to other people? Are we just going to sit kind of in the corner and observe what's going on?
And that's really number two. So what are you prepared to do? What are the things that you're looking to experience once you get there? And it's really important to talk about those things. Maybe one of your boundaries in your exploration is, not just to be with each other and just watch. People love to people watch, and there's nothing like going to an event that caters to people in the open lifestyle and just watch what's going on with them. It's pretty amazing. So it could be as basic as that. Or you may have some fantasies you want to explore, and you can take that route as well. The point is to just discuss them. Number 3, what are your hard no's or hard yeses? What we mean is, are there things that you're absolutely not going to do no matter what? It's really important to talk about those things. Jackie in some of our videos talk about boundaries, and this is where that comes into play. What are your boundaries when it comes to doing certain things? It could be something as simple as, like we said in the last one, having a conversation with someone else, or, you can't go dancing with someone without me being out there. But it's really important to look at everything and talk about that, decide what it is that you're not going to do that night. It doesn't mean you can't change your mind or do something, maybe try it another time, but for this first experience, make sure you're really clear about the hard no's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the hard yeses.
The hard yeses, right.
Yeah, so, some of those, what could those be?
Being open enough to introduce yourselves to other couples or other singles, to have those conversations, to, be sure that you get a complete tour of the club, just to be able to relax enough. We're going to go in here, we're going to tour this, we're going to see what's happening, and we're going to be allies together. This is an adventure. This is going to be something exciting. We don't need to drag our fears with us. Let's grab our excitement and take it with us.
Yes, that would be a yes. Definitely. Take your excitement with you. Is the first visit strictly an observation night?
Right.
So,
and we have a lot of couples that do that.
Yes, and we kind of touched upon those as well. So just make sure, if that's what you're going to do, then respect each other's opinion on that, or and decide just to go in there and observe and see what happens.
Right.
What about dancing? Number 5. What about dancing? Only with each other?
Right.
And that, for sure, that's something you can talk about and decide you can dance with each other people, separately, together. It's really pretty simple, but
right.
Good thing to talk about.
But those are things that you should talk about so that it doesn't become an argument at the club.
Yeah.
A big one. Number 6, have you discussed fears and jealousies? So what are those feelings? This is what I'm talking about when I talk about that intellectual intimacy. This is about really having those pre-conversations. This is what I'm prepared to handle. This is what I don't think I'm prepared to handle. And being able to work together as a team to come up with a general consensus of what our first visit's going to be like.
Yes.
Not too much pressure on each other.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time. This isn't a race.
Yeah, you don't have to do everything alone. Well, the very first night you go to a place. So,
unless that's something that you guys want to do.
What plan do you have in place if your partner becomes uncomfortable? Yeah, what number is that, Jackie?
That's number 7.
Number 7.
And that's really, really important. Again, this is about being on the same page. This is about supporting each other. This is about venturing out into something new and making sure that you're both walking there together. This isn't the time or place to leave your partner and say, well, you better sit here and figure it out because I'm going over here. No, this is about really supporting. And these are ways that we show our trust and our love for each other by being advocates for each other.
Yeah, so if someone becomes uncomfortable in a situation when you're in a space like a swingers club or a party, it's really important to voice that you're uncomfortable. And then you can talk about having a plan of action if that takes place. Sometimes it may even be a signal. Maybe you're in a moment where you don't feel comfortable vocalizing the fact that you're uncomfortable with your partner. So maybe it's something like, tugging on your partner's ear because it's not something you would normally do. And then Jackie would know, okay, John's not really comfortable with this situation. We can find a way to pull ourselves out of it.
Right. Yeah.
Number 8, discuss each partner's boundaries. So we kind of touched upon that a little bit earlier, but once again, we can't talk about it enough, I don't think. Where we see problems with couples sometimes in the club is if they're very vague on their boundaries. And I think the opposite should take place. You should really discuss them with each other and know what your partner is willing or wants to do, and what that your partner is willing to have you do.
Right. Because we have to understand that even though maybe we're a couple, we're still two individuals. And so our definition sometimes of what boundaries are relating to a specific topic could be very different. So, again, this isn't about trying to surface emotions that create some kind of a negative feeling like, well, I want to do this and I want to do that. It's about coming together on the same page. What are both people willing to compromise on, and so that the evening can run smoothly?
Yes, for sure. Number 9, what if one person in the partnership wants to leave?
Then you leave.
Yes,
That's the short answer. Again, this is about supporting your partner. And sometimes, whether we know it or not, sometimes we do those things maybe unconsciously to see where, our value with our partner sometimes. I'm uncomfortable, I want to leave, we're out of here. It creates that memory in our mind that's very positive, that we have the support of our partner, so that then the next time we may not feel that need, or we may not feel that angst. But if we do, we know we have the security of our partner being by our side.
Yes. Number 10, what about alcohol when you experience your first visit sober? A lot of times people will feel as though, a little bit of drink might help take some of the edge off. And we see that quite often. We also see happen from time to time, people get really drunk and then they don't have the same kind of experience I imagine that they'd planned. And something to keep in mind, if you're in a club like that, a new setting, you're nervous, it's pretty normal to try and, maybe drink a little bit too much. And then, you may, you and the people that you end up with may end up having a bad experience because of that.
Right. Again, you have to remember you're in a new environment. This is something that's very different from what most of us are raised. So you're just in a different environment. And maybe that first time or two, the more senses that you have about yourself, maybe the better the evening will go. But that's purely up to you.
It is. And I think another thing, in that realm is, if you're sober or mostly sober, I think you have a better opportunity to voice things that you're not comfortable with. And it's really important that when you get involved in this lifestyle, that you are very clear about what you want and what you're willing to do. Don't cross a line just because your partner wants you to. I mean, you do it because you want to as well.
Exactly.
So a lot of clubs and parties have playrooms, and you have to decide if those are an acceptable area to go in or not. Mm-hmm. And that's really simple. You just say, okay, we're not going to go in the play areas, or we are, and or maybe we're just going to go check them out and see what's going on. That comes back down to your boundaries and what you want to do as far as your first time at the club and exploring.
Right. Well, and then in addition to the playrooms, is play okay? And what are your play boundaries? Do you have safe words? Again, this may seem like a lot of information that you have to cover before you step foot into the club, but it's better to have the more tools in your tool belt as possible, so that it will counter any uneasiness maybe that you feel once you're in there. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, play with the playrooms and whatnot is an important conversation to have. And if you do play, what are you willing to agree to, and what are your hard no's? Mm-hmm. Refusing to play, how to say no. If you do have an opportunity to go in the back and you and your partner do want to play, or you're single and you go back and you're playing, and someone wants to engage and play with you, absolutely say no if that's not what you want to do. You have every right to say no. You have every right to say yes.
And people ask us quite often, how do you say no? It's really pretty simple. Just, no thank you, not tonight, and move on from that. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal. It's really important to not be afraid to say no. Really important. Right. Go ahead.
And then as a couple, if you're dealing with singles. In our clubs, for instance, we have specific nights where single men are encouraged to attend. And, some couples are looking specifically for that, and then some couples aren't. And so, again, it's about you and your partner having that conversation. Is this something that we're going to engage in? Is it something that we're not? What are our boundaries? What are our ground rules? How are we going to deal with this together? How am I going to let my partner know if maybe I'm interested in someone or not interested in someone?
Communication is key, that's for sure.
In most all of these.
It is. Number 15, make sure you understand the club rules. And so in a lot of clubs and parties, when you arrive, there'll be a host or there'll be a set of rules laid out that will help you with your experience there. It may be if there's a closed door, to open the closed door. Always ask for consent to do something, even for watching, for instance. So just make sure you understand the club rules before you go in. You don't want to get in trouble for smoking in areas you're not supposed to be smoking in, or maybe eating where you shouldn't be eating, taking pictures where you shouldn't take pictures. All of those types of things, it's really important to understand those when you arrive.
Yes. Also, this is the other thing. Understand that other partners in the club have varying degrees of boundaries. Just because you and your partner have a set of boundaries doesn't mean that the couple sitting next to you is necessarily going to have the same boundaries. And so while John and I encourage those couples to communicate with each other about what their boundaries are within the couple, it's also really important to discuss boundaries with other couples that maybe you find yourself interested in, and so that everybody's on the same page. Some couples, kissing is a big no-no, whereas other couples, kissing is great. So if you don't have that conversation, you go to play and somebody goes to kiss somebody else, and that's a boundary, there's going to be tension within what's happening that didn't need to happen.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
where are we, babe?
we're right here.
Number 17, don't be afraid to approach other couples. When you set up your expectations for going to the club, you may decide that you want to meet other couples. And if you do, there's no reason to be afraid. I hear a lot of times that, we went to this place and there were just a lot of cliques. Well, maybe those are just groups of people that happen to know each other. I'm telling you, people that are in open relationships, they want to meet new people in open relationships. I'm not saying they're tired of their friends they've been seeing for the past 5 years, but you never know. And so just make an effort and go up and say, hey, how you guys doing? I'm so-and-so. It's your first time here. Just use that the old single pickup line.
Well, and two, you can also utilize staff as well. You can, they're going to know if you're new, and don't be afraid to tell staff, hey, we're new, we'd like to meet some other couples. They're going to know who is going to be a great couple for you to engage with. So.
Absolutely. Number 18, just because you are visiting a swingers club does not mean you have to engage in sex ever. No. It's amazing how many people think that you do. And it's really a place for people of like minds to meet and to socialize. If they want to take it to the next step, then that's an option that the clubs might have, or some clubs may not. You may have to go someplace else, but you do not ever have to go take that step.
No.
Go ahead.
This one is so great. So a swingers club is that perfect place that you can wear that sexy dress or those really high heels. It's a great opportunity for the guys to get cleaned up a little bit and have the nice jeans or slacks and the great top. It's a great place for you to be able to let out that sexy side of yourself. And it's so different. Going to a swingers club is so different from going to what swingers typically classify as a vanilla club, where there's all this like sexual innuendo and this undertone. And here within the swingers clubs, you're going to find, if you wear that sexy dress, you're going to be affirmed. by the women as well. I mean, it's just a great community. They're gonna tell you when you walk in how great you look, instead of, what does she think she's doing? Wearing that short dress, trying to attract all the men. It's just a completely different environment. You're really encouraged to be more you, and express that side of yourself that maybe you have kind of kept under wraps for a while. So it's a fun, safe place, because again, you have to remember, a lot of people are there with their partner. I mean, these are couples. These are long-term couples, and so they have each other's backs. They're looking out for each other. They want each other to be the best that they can be and offer the best of themselves through support. So it's a really great, safe environment to do that.
It is, that's for sure. Number 20, set a goal not to have any expectations. Sometimes taking our fear of something is expectation enough. Just focus on having a wonderful evening with your partner, or if you're single, with getting to know new people who could become lifelong friends. And we've touched upon this a little bit, and to reiterate it, to go in there without too many expectations, just go in there with really the only one is to have fun, explore, see what it's like.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing. Just because you're new doesn't mean you're going to be the only new person in the club. I guarantee you, from experience in all of our clubs, every single weekend, we have new people. I mean, we have new people to the extent that we have people specifically there to give you a tour of the club. This is how great of a lifestyle option that this is for couples. Is it gives them this place that they can go. It gives them a different opportunity to engage with each other and engage with others and make friends. And so you're not going to be new. It's not like you're going to walk in and the spotlight's going to, hone in on you and make you feel all awkward and strange. There's going to be other new couples. Matter of fact, I've even seen on more than one occasion, the new couples that come to the club, they kind of end up gravitating towards each other, and they kind of have a newbie corner almost, where everybody's there. They're kind of sharing their experience. How did you hear about the club, and what got you into the lifestyle, and how long have you been talking about this? So it's a great community as well. So don't ever be afraid of being the newbie as far as by yourself.
No, that's well said, Jackie.
Yeah.
22, focus on the positives of the evening. Talk about everything you loved on the way home and be encouraging of your partner's courage. And that's a really cool part of our relationship model, is our communication is much, I can't even describe how we talk about everything, all the minute details, how much fun we had. When you go to a club, talk about the experience you had there, what you liked and didn't like, what you'd like to try again, or what you saw and you would like to try in the future.
And and I'm telling you, sometimes it may feel a little odd. It may feel a little weird to say, wow, I really had fun doing this thing that's so outside the box. You may feel like it's changing who you are, to admit that there's this thing outside of how you've been living your life that brings this new excitement. And that's part of why it's so important that the two of you work together as a team to be able to say, you know what, that was really exciting. And then just be affirming to your partner about, yes, I'm so glad that you had a great time. It was fun. I'm glad we did this. Whether you ever end up coming back to the club or not is completely and totally up to you. But what's so great is the courage that the two of you had to even come into the club and see what it's about.
No doubt.
Or as a single, having the courage to come in.
Yeah. Finally, okay, hygiene. Better to be safe than sorry. Be prepared. So, what do you think about that, Jackie?
Well, here's the thing, even though, so you've had all this conversation, right? You've gone over this whole list of 24 other things, and you've made your notes, and you know what your safe word is. You know what your boundaries are. You've had the conversations. You know what you're going to wear. You have everything ready to go, and you've said maybe, okay, so we're just going to go observe. We're not going to do any play. We're not going to do any of that. It's still important, though, to be your best from everything, you know, from a hygiene standpoint. So, you know, take that shower, shave, get everything prepared like you are going to engage in play, because the likelihood that play will take place at least at home afterwards is probably pretty good. So just be ready, and you know, you'll feel better as well, because you never know.
That's true. You never know. Well, hopefully these things help you in your first time going out to a club. And if you've been before, maybe they'll help you in your next visits. Jackie and I sure have had fun sharing them with you. And if you have any questions, please email us at John or Jackie at openlove101.com. Sign up for our YouTube channel here at Open Love 101. And make sure you click the little bell to be notified when we put up new videos.
Yeah.
All right. Great talking to you guys. See ya.